Retract.
Start.
Oh, Retract Dragon.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, are Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Dragon! Now dry dragon after a lot of rain here.
And this week we're here to talk about not one, not two, not three, but 4 episodes of Star Trek, though 2 of them are like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
So-
and we would have covered the other of the new very short treks because we were going to catch up with those tonight, but we didn't know one existed because they're that good at promoting.
Exactly. Yes, this is your peak. You're almost weekly at this stage. Peek behind the scenes of how professional we are at Retrek. We had forgotten the titles of some of the very short treks, so when we Wikipedia'd them, we discovered there was one that none of us had seen.
Now, 2 notes on that. One, I remembered the name of all the holograms all the way down, which I almost then got wrong. And secondly, I feel like the unprofessionalism was started by Paramount Plus. So I feel like
okay,
it's
we'll
kind of
give you
not on
that.
us.
So yeah, we're covering 2 of the most recent very short treks, the most recent Lower Decks, and we're going all the way back to TNG Season 1 for 11001001, in fact.
Oh,
For those of you still in decimal, for 201.
There we go.
Either way, God, that journey was worth it.
Well, I like that episode. Anyway.
Really? Oh man, I can't wait to talk about it now.
It's actually really clever
Bad.
with what it does with Minuet later on.
Yeah, so the next episode is clever. Well, not
Yeah,
the next
it's
one.
really good
the
setting
episode
up. It's really
3
good setting
seasons
up.
later.
It's really good setting up for a season 4 episode.
Oh, you mean the imaginary? Is it imaginary? No, imaginary friends.
Future
novel, isn't it?
Imperfect.
Future Imperfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's-
so the first very short trek, Worst Contact, where Riker and Crusher go to do first contact, and it's just a planet full of mingers, and they're snotting all over the shop, and
Yeah, this one where it's good fun, but it's kind of hard to get a lot of mileage out of it. It's just guys being
Yeah.
great bogeys and
It was
farting and
to me. It felt like very 80s
mhm.
toilet humor.
Yep.
That's been
Which I
done.
love.
Yeah, but it's been done, and it's been done a lot better.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it is very one note joke.
It was very one note. It was a one-dimensional episode. The joke has been done many, many times previously, and it's been done so much better previously. The Young Ones episode 6 is probably the best one.
I mean,
The reason why I liked it a bit better than you is because at least it's like we never see like them go to a planet and it be like they're always peace and love, and now something's a bit awkward and they're a bit off and they're rubbing a snot on their hand before shaking hand. It's like, oh, that's a bit great. Like I like the idea that that's the line with Federation. They'll accept everyone, but that one's a bit gross.
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Whereas the next one.
There's nothing memorable about it.
No,
it's
there's
not when
not.
you're going to go, yeah, I must watch that again.
Yeah. But I love with the
Agreed.
next one, the idea that they kind of like, they're sort of taking, I do feel like there's a subtle jab at Enterprise's finale in this.
Oh, I don't think it's subtle.
It's not
Yeah.
subtle in the slightest little bit.
I think this is, but it's like, I don't think it's like, oh yeah, but what if like after that happened? It's like, yeah, that was crap. Well, how do we tee off on this one? I really feel like it, I don't think it was, I think the thing was a slightly knowing nod to the fact that wasn't the best finale.
Yeah, I think it was, and it's clever, it's fun. This is exactly what you should be doing with this format. I think is just going crazy, having a load of fun with it. And there was a really confusing bit though, where these CGI characters appeared, and they're not part.
You mean
They're not part of any
Paramount's
Trek show.
trying to pretend that none of us ever saw?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who they are or what they're doing.
It's actually this great new Netflix show.
Yeah, no, it's
Netflix
Netflix. It's a Netflix parody of Star Trek. Star Trek parody, I think it's called. I think it's parody. I might.
Yeah, something like
it
that.
begins with P.
Yeah,
but joking aside, it was wonderful to see those characters again. I mean, luckily now we know that we're going to get the full second season.
Because this was shown like just before that announcement.
And
I wonder if they've done it deliberately that Prodigy is because they've gone through.
Yeah, maybe.
They've gone through all the Star Trek Day, not mention a thing about Prodigy, and it's taken down. And they have treated it almost as if it doesn't exist anymore.
They do, yeah.
Well, what I was saying was like, I wonder if because as you say, the timing of this one being one of the later ones, because we now know there's another one. I thought it was the last one. I wonder if there were a few more references to Prodigy prior to this, which got cut maybe before they had a certain, it's either an embargo date, because they usually are when something's moved over, they don't want to talk about it to let the channel let the channel talk about it, but B, they're really trying to promote their own stuff, or B, it's they were they hadn't got anything in place. But I think this, judging by the time of it, this is probably the grace period between it leaving one service and going to the other. They usually have that signed into the contracts. So I think this was set up to, this would be landing as one of the later ones, because that's after when we're going to be talking about it again. Well,
I've very much enjoyed seeing them again. So,
it's great.
It was a clever little episode.
And there was nice little the Lower Decks bit was really good in this one.
Yeah,
they could have a little bit of fun with it. And I also love the idea that Quark, because they started doing them quicker and quicker as they went on. But the first one where it's Quark showing Garrick what he's going to do to face the Romulan and Chris, that was a lovely bit of business. That's a direct kind of basically lift of what they do in These Are the Voyages. These Are the Voyages of Enterprise. It was just a really nice little kind of thing, and then you go into the quick pace ones. It was just much structured for a little 5-minute thing. It reminded me a bit of when they did the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, even though we're nearly at we're at the 60th now.
Yeah,
they did Night of the Doctor, and it was 7 minutes long, and it feels longer because it was so.
That was great.
And I'd say this is kind of up there for this is one of those just out of the short treks. This is probably the best written one for everything they made.
I think so. Yeah.
This is the one that is memorable. You're gonna go back. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and you need to watch it a couple of times because there's so many different things happening.
Yeah, really good fun. So on to Lower Decks then, and a few badges more this week's episode, and. I think this is my favourite this season. I think I can comfortably say at this point.
And I think our predictions for how the episode structure, we were pretty much spot on last week.
Yeah, we definitely got. Yeah. Squee, particularly, you were very concerned that we weren't going to get any forward momentum on the story arc.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
I trusted them.
They delivered it. Absolutely.
Yeah. They knocked out the park. And just a little bit behind the scenes of Retrek, when we talk about the episode to go with it, Elliot, because sometimes my memory's really crap. So sometimes when Elliot says something, it makes no sense. I don't know he's joking because I go, oh, he's probably explained this. It makes perfect sense what we were talking about. But then he puts it and goes, yeah, I think we should do Fistful of Datas. Because, the Clint Eastwood connection. I'm going, what's the bloody Clint Eastwood connection? I'm not looking at the title when you write this. You don't go, because it's called this. You just go, oh, well, everyone will remember that. No, why would I think that? Why would I be thinking of that?
Well, to me, everyone would get that straight away.
If I don't remember episode titles, I used to be able to when I was a kid, but
I just thought with the name of the episode title, if it's
Fistful of Datas.
A Fistful of Datas.
Well, we've already done a Fistful of Datas.
Yeah, that's
when we were doing holodecks and stuff. So. So we get the scavenger guys come back, and we've definitely seen them before in Lower Decks. I really like the design of them, and
the Binars.
Dagoni, is it?
Yeah, and they they find Badgey, so we pick up straight away with Badgey where we left him, and they kill some Binars, which is well, it's not the first time we've seen Binars since the episode we're going to cover. I think they have a walk on in an episode somewhere, but it's the first time we've spent any time with the Binars, and probably for good reason. But
they're not the most interesting species how they were done.
No,
like the idea behind them, I think in Next Gen, if it had been developed, could have been quite interesting to have these.
Oh yeah.
But
Next Gen totally misused them. I underused them from a great premise. I mean, and did you? I mean, Jesus, the language they were using on the Binar ship. Sorry, I speak binary.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I mean, Jesus, there's stuff which
I obviously do, because I told you what the episode's really called.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, Jesus, they can say that still. I mean, geez, in this day and age, I would have expected in the 80s when they first came out with them, but
well, yeah, the Binars would be cancelled if they started spouting all that sort of stuff on now. But luckily they get destroyed, so we do well, do they?
Well,
so
yeah,
they do. Yeah, they do. But some other people may not have done. And then, so what we're doing with this episode is we're taking all the evil AIs and we're putting them together in one episode. So we get Peanut Hamper gets reintroduced, and is it Agimus, Jeffrey Combs' character?
Yeah.
And all of these brought back into the story.
It's quite a good lineup, actually, because you've got Jeffrey Combs, you've got Kirsten Scholl, who does not only loads of animation, but she's been in loads of TV shows, currently in What We Do in the Shadows. You've got Jack something, whose surname I'm going to forget, he might play Jack. He's in 30 Rock.
All right.
Badgey. He's been in a ton of stuff. So, yeah, it's a pretty damn sweet cast. I sometimes look at this and, okay, these guys all do a lot of animation, so you probably could get them. But sometimes when you think about the money that's on screen on Star Trek or Doctor, people are doing for the love, not the paycheck in these cases.
Yeah,
some of them are,
Yeah, I think in this case,
also,
not, but it just made me think of that. It's like they're all.
You have to remember, with animation, it's not a huge commitment. Like they send a car for you, you get in the car, it drives you to the studio, you go there for a couple of hours, you come home, you've got 10 grand in your bank account.
And let's bear in mind, season 1 of Lower Decks was done during lockdown. They didn't even have to leave the homes, so just recorded it.
Very true, yeah.
I'm guessing they don't get 10 grand an episode, though. I might be wrong, but
you might be surprised, actually.
I don't know.
I've never really
thought about it. No, you might be right.
I have no idea what they get, though. I am, as I've told you guys off air, I've been reading the Making of Star Trek book, and it tells you like what the budgets were for each episode back in the day, and it was 175,000 season 2 of the original series. That's what they had to make each episode.
And to be fair, you look at what English sci-fi was being made for at the same time. That was probably a season's budget for Doctor Who.
Almost certainly, yeah.
And actually, it's worth mentioning as well that we say about like the mega team up. They kind of teed it up at the end of the last episode where they had a couple of them next to each other, at least in the big lockup.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad we finally bring these evil AI characters together. Just a little, this was almost an episode I suggested we did. When Agimus makes his drones, they look like the drones from, what's it called? Arsenal of Freedom, exactly. Which I really want to do that episode because there's a bit that I find absolutely hilarious in it, but probably other people won't feel the same. So we'll get there one day, I'm sure. And
when Trek wants us to, we will be there.
We will. There's this sort of weird love story between Peanut Hamper and Agimus going on, which is all very, we're going to meet up and do evil things, but she keeps not being where she tells him.
Yeah, I think this is going to spin off to, like, I think the next time we see, I think we're seeing these all again. I think it'll be like, so. I think it'll be Jeffrey Combs. I'm going to forget all the characters' names. It's going to be Jeffrey Combs, Peanut Hamper. Like, it's going to be maybe hired by Starfleet to try and track him down because he's gone rogue again, and you get Good G then in on the action. I think there's going to be another sequel to this. It's probably going to be. I can picture Jeffrey Combs' character because he was already basically talking about going evil again at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So I think
I was talking about going good actually by end of episode.
It was trying to impress the in-laws.
He was, but he was trying to impress the in-laws. But then he said there was one line he said, which suggested that he could go evil again at any moment. He was basically just doing it because he wanted to get with Peanut Hamper.
Yeah. And I really like the bit where he's got his blue light, so he's all good, and then it turns red, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you can turn your blue light red, or your red light blue, rather."
Yeah, it was when Peanut was going. It's like, oh my god, it's such strong. I thought blue lights were just for good robots, not anymore. It's just brilliant. So well.
And it is the classic cliche that you get, particularly in animation, where
it used to be the typical Star Wars thing. You want it because you had the blue lightsabers and red lightsabers.
Yeah, but you also had it in something like Transformers, like the Autobots invariably had blue eyes, and the Decepticons, quite a few of them had red eyes.
And you see in Supernatural, demons always have red eyes.
They do, yeah. Oh, hang on, that's only like the arch demons in it. Well, the normal demons have black eyes. I just want you to get it right, otherwise Ruth will chin you.
I'm sorry, but when the point is though that it's normally done as red eyes.
Yes, it is. Red eyes is bad.
And I've got nothing on Supernatural, but my little fun fact for Star Wars is the reason why Samuel L. Jackson got the purple lightsaber. There was a little thing on the making of back in the day of The Phantom Menace, and he's talking to George Lucas, and he goes, "How do you decide who gets kind of what color?" Oh, and I will drop that accent straight away. How do you decide who gets what color lightsaber? And George Lucas goes, "Well, the good guys, they either get blue or green, and the bad guys, they get red." And he goes, "So I can get purple?" He goes, "You might get purple." And then on the screen, he gets a purple lightsaber. It was just because of that offhanded comment. He goes, "Yeah, so I'm going to give him purple lightsaber. He's Samuel L. Jackson. Why wouldn't he?"
Yeah, exactly. If Samuel L. Jackson wants a purple lightsaber, he gets a purple lightsaber.
But it's just genius. I love the fact it was just that silly conversation. George was like, "Right, he's getting purple."
Yeah, absolutely. And also quite canny by him because it means you can spot Mace Windu in all the big battle scenes.
Yeah.
And also, let's face it, I think it's a bit of a Willy joke.
Possibly. I
mean, Samuel Jackson, I think he knew what he was doing.
Maybe so. I'm just worried about your Willy now if it's purple constantly.
The eggplant, or as we call it, aubergine, is used for the...
It is. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have questioned it. But maybe...
I don't know how I'm going to text like that, but...
Maybe just... have a word with the GP if you need to. That's all I'm saying. It's fine. It's fine. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. But anyway.
The pus is normal though, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's
so, Badgey then. So, Rutherford gives him a hug and Badgey appears to turn back to the good side. But what actually happens is it creates this meta crisis and we get a brand new character.
Well, Badgey decides to kick out the good.
Yeah.
And we get Goodgy.
They're just genius Badgey and Goodgy. It's such a...
It's the first time that I got it with the name that Badgey. The first three letters of B-A-D, bad.
Yeah, I don't think they did that on purpose. Probably when they wrote it, then they were going.
It's hard to say if they did do it on purpose or not. I just haven't got the joke until this episode.
No, but I'm saying I don't think it was. I mean, it was there, but it's I don't think it was a huge joke.
No, it was probably a happy coincidence when they were thinking, what shall we call the good version? Yeah.
It's just such a brilliantly dumb pun that you can't help laughing your ass off.
No.
It's in a perfect spot of being a really bad joke that's bad enough to be hilarious.
But that's not all, because we also get Logicy.
Yes, which is just... It's making it even dumber. And then if you went straight for Logicy, no joke there. Doesn't work.
No.
They've taken you to such a dumb...
What I like is...
When they go Logicy, you're just pissing yourself.
Goody has that... like silly single front buck tooth. You know, a bit like what's the car called in Cars? The tow truck.
Mater.
Mater. He has them sort of teeth, and Mater's always good.
And it's also the fact that as they distill out all the good out of Badgey, I love how they make it more and more intense to the point where he's just got these huge florid eyebrows. He looks like he's animated in a different style. He's become so angry. It's just, I mean, hats off as always. Like, we don't say enough, but hats off to the animators. The job they did on Badgey on this one particularly is outstanding. Just again to get another animation style almost in there and it blend in was just great.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, it does go back to like Star Trek tropes. Like, you've got the enemy within, where you get Kirk split into the good and evil, and you've got Data and Law. And, you know, if we wanted to extrapolate it further, I mean, could we argue that we've got the ego, the id, and the super ego once we get Logic-y introduced in it? You know,
Jim, I wasn't going to go so route one. I thought that was pretty obvious in terms of
I mean,
text.
You're right. How foolish of me. But you know, what I'm saying is there's a lot to chew on if you really want to look into it. But the joke is good. It's the classic sort of dramatic can't speak. The dramatic like 3-beat that you get. So you introduce the idea. We've got this name. It's called Badgey. You reinforce it. Good G is a play on good and bad G, and then you subvert it right at the end. So you have the third beat of it just completely throws it out the window. Logic-y's name doesn't follow the naming trend. So, you know, it's a well-worn writing trope, but they pulled it off brilliantly in here.
Yeah, this is just said, clever writing, great animation. It's just really, I can see why this. I mean, I'm trying to think. I think this is my favorite as well. I think there was an early one which was really good, but I think this one takes it so far.
Yeah. And I like Logic-y has a good line where Badgey outlines his plan, and it's, we're going to destroy the Federation. And then there's almost just a little pause, and then he goes, that is not logical. They really, though, do need to work on, you know, how many times does stuff like this have to happen? Do not have an ability to link the whole fleet because
it's been shown a bad idea.
Yeah, the first season of Lower Decks, it happened. The first season of Prodigy, it happened. It's gonna, I know timeline-wise, Picard's later on, but it's gonna happen again.
Did it happen in Discovery to an extent?
Probably.
I don't think so.
No, we've had the Section 31.
Control was gonna, Control was gonna do something like that.
I mean, Jesus, the only reason why Lower Decks can totally get away with it is because they can just say it's a piss take of all the other.
Of course they can,
yeah. But I don't. This didn't feel like that was that. I think it was just.
No, it was just a touch of it reminded me.
Yeah,
of
they didn't nail it enough for a joke though. So I think.
No, they didn't. They weren't going for the joke.
I don't think they were going for a joke. I think they just got. I think they've actually. I think they've played the joke last season.
Yeah.
Where they had it all, and this is like just going. Yeah, this needs to be done. Something needs doing about this. And maybe Lower Decks is the one that's going to turn around and go, let's not have all the shits can talk to each other and control each other. That'd be a really good improvement.
It would be a good...
One callback, one thing which we'll get to near the end, but we missed at the beginning, was the grappling hook as well. I thought was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, the grappling hook was fun.
Well, I like the grappling hook. I was doing it at the beginning, and it just something's been said when they've gone back from the Strange New Worlds episode about the grappling hooks, how they all love the grappling hook. And
you're right.
Rutherford's run with it.
I thought it was a reference to Enterprise with their.
Well, it is, but they were saying they liked the grappling hooks from Enterprise.
Rutherford and Tandy know that they went back through time because they had to tell them not to come back. Didn't they? So they know what happened, even though they can't tell anyone else because of the timey-wimey stuff.
But did the 1701 have a grappling hook?
Yeah, the NX-01 had the grappling
hook.
Yeah,
no, that's one thing. So how was it relate to... Sorry, I'm confused.
Because Boiler and Mariner, had been geeking out about all the stuff on the 1701.
Yeah.
And then later on, you had the crew of the Enterprise were geeking about stuff about from the NX-01 with the grappling hook when they had to find the piece of the NX-01 in the hull of the ship. And they've been geeking out about the grappling hook. So I imagine Boimler and Mariner have told them they were geeking out. Because them four can talk about what happened.
But those two, hadn't they already come back to the present when the when the 1701 were talking about the grappling hook?
No.
No, they had to find that.
They had to find the piece of the NX-01 to get the bit.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you now.
So I imagine that's where I imagine Rutherford's got the idea from. Because
maybe but they shouldn't have told Rutherford.
Yeah, but they can because Rutherford and Tandy know that they travel through time.
Yeah, but they don't know the details.
Portal.
They shouldn't be telling the details.
They're probably the only two people who can tell little bits about.
Yeah. Maybe. But either way, it's a nice little sort of callback.
That's how I like to think about it. That they've had little bits of conversation, and that's where Rutherford's got the idea from. You need a grappling hook.
And Kingy, by the way, look, stop it with your kind of crude enjoyment of now your Tandy, her uniform comes off her and she's down to her vest. Gar, your comments about her the other week, I'm pretty sure it was you.
I thought, I'm pretty sure it definitely was, yeah.
Tandy. I mean, that was what you were saying. That's what I mean. Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
You
that's
do get
exactly how
as well for all the people with foot fetishes later on.
I mean, I was joking about it, but have you seen how many episodes they sort of sexualized that cartoon of Tandy? It's she's
so and that actually plays because she's so innocent.
Yeah.
And, well, stop emailing them and asking for it, and they might. They might calm down with it.
Yeah, and it was me asking for it from them that led to the restraining order between me and Noel Wells, but that's another story entirely.
But we've talked about Logic, but sadly it doesn't last very long. And Logic is the first of the Badgey triumvirate to leave us, which is a shame. But
if you'd had more time, you could have done a wonderful pastiche to Wrath of Khan, where you had Logic and Gucci either side of the plus.
Yes.
What did you think of my solution?
But Badgey ascends, so we get the classic Star Trek trope of beings ascending to a higher level, and we get the koala.
He does it through evil and still obtains enlightenment, which is they've never done that. So it's like they kind of do something different.
Yeah, that's very Stargate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I did like it seeing the koala. I still want to see the Great Bird of the Galaxy in the background though.
The Great Bird of the Galaxy would be good, but I want to see the koala in live action because.
Nice.
We've emphatically established now that the Star Trek afterlife is governed by a celestial koala. I think we need to see him.
I would love them to merge those two religions they've got of like the koalaisms and the Great Bird of the Galaxy. I like to think they're from the same religion somewhere.
Yeah, the turtle.
It's sort of like a menagerie, isn't it?
Yeah,
they've got many gods,
The turtle and the spider in Stephen King's multiverse, like they're opposite ends of the tower. Sorry, got a bit deep into Dark Tower territory there.
Yeah, but I don't know that at all.
Well, the turtle's called Maturin, obviously, and he's one of the
if you've watched the movie, you won't know that at all.
So one's called Maturin, and the other one's called I Can't Believe It's Not Turtle.
Yes. You don't actually find out the spider's. I mean, the spider's Pennywise, but it doesn't really have a name.
Yeah,
spider's Pennywise.
Yeah, Pennywise is a giant spider, and the clown. Yeah, have you not seen the end of the film?
I think
I've seen it. I haven't seen.
I think you're being told off here.
Oh, Facebook user says shame not knowing about the Dark Tower. Well, I'm educating him.
Well, shame on you for not being able to put your name on the screen. So. No, sorry, I should watch it. But the film I heard was not good.
Oh, the film is not good. No,
I will listen to the audiobook at some point.
Okay, but yeah. So basically, all you need to know is Pennywise is a giant spider who is the mortal enemy of the turtle, who is one of the 8 guardians of the spokes of the tower, which holds the multiverse together.
Is it a
Clearly.
multiverse of madness?
It could be if the Crimson King gets his wish at the end. Anyway, join us for the Dark Tower podcast. But yes, Badgey ascends then. And what we find out as a result of all of this is that the ships that we've seen be destroyed nearly every episode actually are not being destroyed. They are being teleported somewhere else.
Yeah, but the Binar ship does get destroyed because Badgey says that we can salvage stuff from the Binar ship, so the Binar one does get destroyed.
Unless he doesn't know about this and they're transporting rubble in its place.
Yeah, Badgey doesn't know. Agamus knows. But you're right, we've seen debris from the ships.
But you have we've had... Okay, they didn't do it using beaming, but if you remember the most toys, you got the Collector. In fact, it could be the Collector. But he got rid of Data and Shuttlecraft and put debris in the place. So maybe... I'm going to say it's the Collector. This actually quits quite nicely. I went ass backwards into that theory, but I'm going to go with it.
I'm going back to the classic one, which is, who do we know that can transport things across vast distances? The Iconians.
Yeah. We did throw the Iconians out a few episodes ago just to cover our bases.
It's never going to be the Iconians. But...
to be fair, every time we have a mystery in Star Trek, when it sets it up, there's always people who go, the Iconians. And Lower Decks are probably the only ones who are ever going to do the Iconians.
They might do, actually, because they will, without a doubt, they will know that. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they threw out the Iconians one time. It'll be like that episode of House where it actually is Lupus.
Yeah. And that's always a running joke between me and my stepdaughter. Like, we always go, it's not Lupus. It's never Lupus! Like, that's our thing. Anyway. Because... I will have to crow just quite considerably, though, if it's the Collector, only because I sort of accidentally went into the theory, but because of something which happened on screen, because of the debris thing, which was his thing. He would measure
it was.
Know exactly what to leave out there.
Yeah.
That advanced ship that he's got could be something he's collected from somewhere else. He would fit very neatly. If it was him, you wouldn't feel robbed,
No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. And it does fit, because he did do that with Data. He left enough debris there that looked like Data had actually been destroyed in the shuttle.
I mean,
he measured everything. And isn't there a beam which comes out of the thing before it destroys? So it could be measuring it up for the debris field.
Not sure.
He's certainly upped his game if it is him, but we'll find out, I'm sure.
Him working with the Iconians. The Collector and the Iconians working together.
It's why is he collecting these things? Because surely he could get them a lot easier than this.
Maybe it's another caretaker. But anyway, we will leave that one there then, and I believe Squee's a huge fan, by the sounds of earlier in the episode, of what's it called, Elliot? 201?
201.
201.
Or how they put it on screen. 11001001.
Yes.
Catchy. Which actually means fuck off in binary. It's very rude.
It's actually 201. It is in binary.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question about the binars, but we'll get there.
Can I just say something about this episode?
Yeah.
And Paramount. I tried to watch this episode last night on Paramount Plus.
Preach.
Mm-hmm.
And the only episode you could watch of Star Trek Next Generation on Paramount Plus was episode 2 of All Good Things. You could not choose seasons. You could not choose episodes. It was just stuck right at the end of TNG.
I mean, that was probably only
Netflix. I had to go onto Netflix to watch it.
I mean, it's probably
That's
only on your screen because
ridiculous.
everyone
It's
gets
like-
their own little problem with getting into Paramount Plus. For me, it's on the Fire Stick. It never loads. I have to uninstall and reinstall it to get it to even fucking open every
It's
time.
just, I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, that is
that
ridiculous.
I could not flip through the episodes. It was just stuck at the last episode. So this isn't my official weekly whinge at how shit Paramount Plus is now.
And also, this episode of Lower Decks didn't drop until very late in the day last Thursday.
I'm not sure because I was working. So
I was checking on and off during the day.
I went to put it on about 5:30 and it was there.
Yeah.
If I might, though, I just like to marvel at the fact that this is the episode which introduces the Binars, which are a species which both talk in ones and zeros and have a species which has no particular gender. So they're both binary and non-binary.
Oh, good point.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Can you just remember that part? Can you just remember that for later in the episode that they are non-binary?
Oh, I know the bit you mean. I know exactly where you're going.
Specifically asks, are these gentlemen the Binars? And the commander goes, no, they're not. And I just want to throw out about how ignorant the crew of the Enterprise are in this episode. Because the Binars are obviously part of the Federation. They've come on board as part of the tech crew from the Starbase, and they have absolutely no idea about this species. And they're talking about them and asking questions about them behind the backs, within earshot, all episodes, instead of talking to them.
And also
an ignorant lot.
Also, while we're there, like going out a bit of a term, but you get that scene where they go, it's like, oh, so they're like, so these men or women, it's like, oh no, they're neither. They're just like a non-gendered species. Then they're on the holodeck. They show him a couple of tricks, and Riker goes, "Gentlemen, perfection." You just got told. You were just told, Riker. You ignorant. I mean,
well, it starts with, boys, this is outstanding when they create the bar, and then they put Minuet there, and he goes, "Gentlemen," and it's like, you specifically asked the question and were directly told the answer and have totally ignored it.
Yep.
And we know you have no problem with non-binary because we see you get off with a third species later on that looks like a little boy.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, we won't even go into that lot part.
I just want to go on and say that the Enterprise crew, how they are towards the Binars in this episode, they really show themselves up.
And they wonder why the Binars aren't confident enough to ask for help.
And no one is capable of selling the script. And I will back that up all throughout the episode. No one can sell the script. Selling this script. You've got some wonderful actors here, and no one can sell the script. It's that badly.
Okay, so they start off at Space Dock, but it's not Space Dock. It is the same model as Space Dock, and they overlay the Enterprise D on the shots of the Enterprise original from Star Trek 3.
Well, let's bear in mind this is 1987 and Star Trek 3 was 1984, 85.
But much like the Klingons have the different size bird of praise depending on what we're in, this is obviously built to the exact same specs as Space Dock, but just much bigger because the Enterprise D takes up the exact same space as the Enterprise A.
Well, it's a different region of space. They had more room to build. Like, they've got the Galaxy class starship.
Like, we've talked about this before, and like, there's pros and cons to what they did because these are physical models.
Yes, I know.
Built. And you've got the con is that these are very, very expensive models to build. Hugely expensive. You're talking, at the time these were made, sort of like $50,000 to $100,000. So they're hugely expensive. You don't just use them for one thing if you can reuse them. CGI, you can do lots of different things.
Yeah, they know.
But doesn't it look really beautiful as a physical model?
It does. No, I'm a huge fan of this model.
It's the classic mushroom starbase. Everyone should look like this. But when they went into Discovery Time, they should have just done a more modern version of the same shape. Because
I like
that's what you want starbase to be now. Like, it's glorious.
But it's that sort of like the pros and cons. And that's why you have lots of our birth classes in Next Generation.
Of course, yeah.
And you have lots of Reliant classes and Excelsior classes crop up all the time. Even though it's nearly 100 years later, them ships were built to last.
Yeah, and the Excelsior class was brand new at the time. So, it can do 75 years.
And that's the con of it, that you have to reuse your models. But you do have the beauty that they look so good.
Now, I know that we make fun of Riker and his libido and everything else. So I'm going to do more of it, because when he gets on to the holodeck, one of the first things he says is, "And a bone for me." So Riker wants a bone on the holodeck.
Jim, sorry. I've got so much I want to lay into Riker about in this scene. Can we just go back a little bit? If nothing else, just for the wonderful moment when the other captain there's a thing where they say that they purposely, with women, it seems to, is the main thing. Then Hollywood, if you've got a blonde screen, you've got to get a brunette to make them look different. Whereas if you've got Captain Picard and you want to have another captain, let's just do the mirror universe version of him with a beard. He's exactly Captain Picard with a beard. I think this guy was also a stunt double. It's just, why? Why would you? I don't know why it bugged me. I was just like, what? And no one's going to comment on how much they look exactly the same. Sorry, back to what you were saying. All right, just that pissed me off. I don't know why.
He wants a bone.
He wants a bone.
And then it's like that bit out of Total Recall where they're going, "What do you want this woman to be like?" And he goes, "Sleazy." Because it's like, right, we'll make a woman. And then he goes, "More sultry." And it's like, okay, now.
Also, like for in other episodes, you sort of see it's like, oh God, Riker quite a player. Like, I see why he's got this reputation, how smooth he is. He hasn't got zero game in this episode. And like the thing which he was going through of like all the kind of qualities he wants, and it's like, blondes are no good though. Blondes and jazz sound the mix, which okay, whatever. And then it's like, the reason why he thinks that she's so realistic, like, is basically she just wants to jump his bones. Oh my God, she's so realistic because everyone does want to shag me, which is like, I'm sorry, mate, you can't use that as a reason why she like. That's all she's trying to do so far is look at him like she wants to fuck him, and then say a couple of lines. It's
funny because like Riker's there trying to shag this hologram, and Picard walks on, and instead of sort of being embarrassed, Riker's like, "Here, have a look at this," and Picard's like, "Oh, it is very good, yes."
No, before that though, when he first comes on, sorry, before we go past this bit, when Picard first moves on, basically Riker's getting off with this lady, and he's just looking around going, "Oh, this is all fantastic." Like, he hasn't noticed they're getting off in the corner. And he goes, "Oh no, please continue. What, you want to watch, you pervert?"
And like Picard says something weird. He goes like, "Oh, it's the sort of place I might have chosen myself." Like, really? You're into New Orleans jazz, are you, Picard? Oh yeah, big time.
No, sorry, Elliot, I cut you off. I just wanted to go.
No, I was actually going to say the part where Riker's sort of like bragging about, "Look what I'm off to do in the holodeck."
Yeah.
He's sort of like, we've seen it in Lower Decks that they clean up and they all used to shagging in the holodeck. So I think this is just sort of like playing into that. But
do you reckon Riker was the first one?
No, I think that they're enlightened enough that they can quite happily go, "See what I'm off to do here."
Maybe so, yeah.
No, it's fine, but I don't think Riker, like Picard, would be going there. It's like, oh, okay. It's like he's not aware though. It's not like he's going, "Oh, sorry, you're busy."
It's out of character for Picard. It's not out of character for Riker.
No, not at all. No, Riker would shag anyone in front of anyone. But I'm just saying, when Picard goes on there, it's not like
girls that look like little boys.
Can we stop on the little boy stuff? Okay, I think we're going to get you treated if you mention it another time. But anyway, it was the bit where it's not the fact that like Picard's like, oh, sorry, I see you're busy. Let me just leave you to it. He's like going, oh, sorry, how are you? You know, he just acts as if it's not happening, which is
and then
weird.
like there's the bit where like Picard's like, oh well, clearly you two are about to shag. I think I'll get going, and then
later.
Minuet's like, oh no, stay, Captain. And he's like, yes, stay, Captain. He's like, what's your game, Riker? What are you thinking's going to happen here?
The thing you've got to wonder here as well is Picard just wanders into holodeck. It's like, isn't there any sort of do not enter sign?
Oh no, that's the classic, isn't it? Everybody does that all the time, yeah.
Yeah, which you think Barclay would especially put a lock on there, but
you really would.
I'm in a private holodeck suite. My fantasy: do not enter.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, we won't say what he's doing in there, but it's
just do not enter. I might not be shagging. It could be something else, but most likely.
And I understand the idea that I think in this series, it's kind of written into all the episodes that it's early days of holodeck technology.
Yeah,
and they're learning stuff, but it's like, oh, the way in which they prove how sophisticated is like, oh, you can suddenly speak French, like. That seems like a fairly minor trick for such
someone who is essentially the computer.
To be fair, that's just looking back on it now. Like in '87, you didn't have things like Google Translate left, right, and center for anything you wanted. True. So a computer that just starts, a program that started speaking foreign languages. When this was made, it was like, wow, that's really
okay.
I'm not arguing against the time. I'm arguing against all the other things it can do. So even in that time, if it can do all those things, what the big leap was that they spoke French.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
it's that sort of like they're trying to show that the computer's clever, and it's like them things that it's doing it through.
Yeah,
would you really be impressed with that in a world where the universal translator is ubiquitous? You know, it's not. Anyway, and I realise now, looking at my notes, that not a lot happens in this episode.
Can we also give her French? I think is better than Picard's. Just by the way, it sounds better by far.
Can I just say, there's one part of this episode that I really do find funny. And I think it plays into what we saw in the last season of Picard a lot.
Yeah.
I was playing it. And it's like when they're going to go play Priestley Squares. So Aaron Worf and two blue shirts in this. They're nobodies. Just there to make up numbers. And Worf goes out of his way to wind Riker up. And sort of like, I will bring honour for the Enterprise. We will be victorious. No, mate, friends. If that was what it was about, why are we keeping score?
Also, is it just me, or like in these earlier episodes, has Michael Dorn been studying a bit of Shakespeare for this? Like, he's obviously taken the note from Star Trek 6, which I don't think was made at this time, but we'll pretend it was. He's obviously taken note about like Klingons and Shakespeare because he's just over enunciating everything. He sounds so much better as the episodes go on.
Like, I always think, I think Michael Dorn got... As much as you like Tasha, Michael Dorn got much better when he became the chief of security and wasn't
he did.
Sort of like a helper, because early episodes he was sort of like background filler, have a Klingon on board.
That was the idea.
But when they made him a character, he became more. But I think you're right. He was playing into the Star Trek 6.
Yeah,
it seemed like that.
Even though that was after this.
I think he's watched the original Klingons.
Maybe Star Trek 6 was playing into him.
What you've got to remember as well is like... Sorry, go on.
Well, kind of he is the Klingon in Star Trek 6, one of them. So, but I think though, when you look at the original acting of the Klingons, though, it is they're old Shakespearean actors, and I think he picked up that note maybe.
And the other thing as well is like we know a lot about the Klingons now. But it's easy to forget that Michael Dorn Worf is responsible for so much of that. And this is the very early days of that character.
Yeah, it is.
So, there's still teething problems and everything, but...
And it was still a background. It was still there just to have a Klingon on board without being... He was a main character, but he wasn't used as a main character.
I think even by this stage, even if Tasha Yar hadn't decided to leave, Denise Crosby, I think... he was so visible and so he was great from the get-go. I think it was always going to come to the fore one way or the other. Yeah.
I think so.
But so we've established we've got actually I'll even throw in Worf's acting's a little bit off in this because he's doing the old Shakespeare stuff. We've established that Riker, usually quite a convincing ladies' man, has zero game in this episode. I would like to throw Wesley in next, who every time he delivers a line, it is so awkwardly almost directly to the camera. I'm pretty sure reading his lines from behind the camera, and he just looks like kind of he's squinting through the whole thing. Anyone got any objections to that?
Don't you think Wesley was hard done to in this episode?
Oh God, yeah, it was range for shit. Like he's got
no. I don't mean his lines.
Oh, sorry.
I mean his character. Like everybody is going off to Starbase because no one is needed on the ship. So Riker gives him an order. Stay on the bridge and watch them.
I'm going to say though, he was a young cadet though. He was hungry for the work. I think.
Maybe. And also that's what you do with like teenagers and stuff. You go, hold that.
Yeah, I mean, he's an acting ensign. I mean, Jesus, talk about being low on the food chain. He's not even a proper ensign. That's
true. So the Binars.
The super nice part before we go back to Binars.
Okay.
About Data and Geordi, where Data's painting.
I liked.
This was one of the this part of this scene is one of the things that they used on all the promotional stuff for DS9 when it first started.
That's got to be worth a couple of pages.
It was a mega mix of all of them, wasn't it? And
but that was one of the lines.
Yeah.
And it's still really. But when you think about it, we've got an android trying to paint surreal, being trained by a blind man.
Yeah, but then when you think what Riker actually says, he's like a blind man teaching an android to paint. That's got to be worth a couple of pages in somebody's book. You'd be like, up your ass.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, and I did actually like. This is one of my bits I did like about the episode. It was when you got Riker, like everyone else knows what they're going to do in this spare time. He seemed very Riker-like to go, something will turn up. Like he seems that character, and also I'm starting to think he's got ADHD, because he's very distracted. He kind of like won't make plans in advance. He's kind of like roguish in his he goes outside the box with his thinking. And he's obviously great with women. So, I mean, all ADHD traits, which I've noticed from myself.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you are a bit. You remind me of Riker a lot.
Yeah, apart from the last one, but apart from that, it's great. But it's I did love. I just love him walking around and kind of like just interacting with people. That was kind of nice. And
that was good.
Downbeats in the episode.
That's a good set, and that actually, if you look at the episode that Frakes is in DS9, Defiant. Kira does the same thing at the start of that episode. Like everybody's busy, and that's when she bumps into Tom Riker. I think,
but it's there as well. I'm just here. I have no real plans.
Yeah, there you go. It's a Riker trait.
And we do get a short scene in the same bit with Beverly. And there was this line where he goes like, God, looks like you're packing to leave. She was already preparing her stuff, ready to abscond back to Starfleet at the end of this series.
Yeah, that's it. She's out of there.
Yeah, I was like, she's going, no, not for at least, another 12 episodes, how many we've got left in the series,
Did it go full 26
the actual plot then is the Binars have hijacked the Enterprise to go to their planet, and they do, and they fix it, and then Picard goes, oh, well, I think we'll let you off. Nobody's been hurt. And that's it.
Don't you think it was bad planning? It's bad planning because they kidnapped Riker, and it was just fortuitous that Picard was there as well.
True.
Because they needed two of them to actually sort it.
Can we also Well, we're also skipping over two things. One, first of all, when they set the auto-destruct, no codes, just the voice is fine, which is what allows Data to take it. I'm just saying, if you don't put codes in place, this is what will happen. You just need to copy their voice print.
Well,
in the original series, they figured this out, and in the movies.
And the movies.
Yeah.
Do you also? I don't know if you noticed as well, but the computer voice keeps changing through this episode. You haven't
it's a male voice, isn't it? At the end,
you haven't set
when they set
Michelle
it.
Yet.
I noticed this when they set it. It's Major Barrett, and when they do like turn it off, they auto-destruct off. It's a male voice, and it's really weird.
Didn't notice.
Yeah.
There's no codes or anything. It's just set. Computer set auto-destruct. Does the first officer agree? Yeah, set it.
And this is my.
We'll blow up in 5 minutes.
This is my coup de grace of why no one can sell any lines within this script, because right at the end there, Patrick Stewart, one of the best actors, I mean, possibly up there of all time. And he just looks bored as fuck while they're just about to destroy the Enterprise. He just he's going, oh, well, you better do this. Let's press this. Oh, for fuck. Am I really doing this? I mean, Shakespearean trained, I'm just saying. Fine, yeah, it's not distracting now, whatever. I mean, he could not look more bored in that last section. At least earlier on, he managed to sell the, oh my God, the wonder of everything around me. Even that's a bit cheesy, but I'll give him that
come on. When he sets the coordinates at the end and he's like, sector 3.
Yeah, and we'll do warp 2. It's like, what? Because I can remember how to do this, but I don't trust my piloting that much.
Yeah, is it having a cold start or something? You need to work up to it.
I could quite happily agree that this isn't a great episode, but you'll probably find this is in the modelling community. This is one of the most watched episodes.
Because of the shot
because you get so many close-up shots of the Enterprise powered down, which is unusual to get it powered down so you can see exactly how the paint should be and how it should be.
But it's the end of the episode where they go back into space dock. They treat it like it's either a pilot episode or the last episode of the series when they're going to dock. And there's the big stirring music and everyone's whooping. And it's like, calm down. It's only a mid-series perfectly shit episode.
Yeah,
why are you getting that excited about it?
It's a monumentous episode.
Yes.
No, the reason I always remember this one fondly is because...
They had a 5-minute countdown and it got through a minute of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even last second.
This was one of the ones...
The next time you do auto-destruct, you have Riker going, yes, I concur, absolutely. Turn it off, stop.
Yeah.
And they sort of land it, because you were saying about the fact that the Picard just lets everyone off, and it's like they just land it at because they're binary. They only had the choice of 00 and 01. Ha ha ha. It's like, why does that excuse anything? Why, they can learn just as we can.
Yeah, exactly.
And also these two guys, the two people who they've got from the binars. It's 10 and 01. What are they? The first citizens ever of the planet.
That's what I was going to say. You've got 11 and 00, and then that's it.
I thought it was 10 and 01.
No, because that's
I mean they're your other two that you can have. And then you've used all the combinations.
They're not the names. They were the code to unlock the program to download it.
No, that's what they called them.
No,
their names though as well.
No,
yes, this is 10 and this is 01.
Yeah, they do. No. Yeah, at the beginning. Yes, we both remember the very bit. It's right at the beginning. Goes, this is 10 and this is 01. They introduce them as that.
They do.
Maybe they all call themselves by that, but
maybe so.
I mean, maybe it's John Smith.
But 11001001 is the code that.
The code.
I mean, they probably use their names as the clue so they get it. But it's like that is they never landed. That's not their name if that's what they're going for.
So 1, 2, and 2 and
3, 4.
No, it's 1, 2, 12, and 0 are on board then.
I mean, I just wish they'd had
I can't count
this
in
is
binary.
10001. That could be at least try a little.
You're right.
bit.
They must have been the first citizens. You're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we'll wrap that one up then. The reason I remember it fondly is because they used to have this on tape at Kemp's, where I used to rent my videos from. So I saw this episode quite a few times, and so I have fuzzy nostalgic feelings for it. But I'll admit it didn't hold up quite that well.
I have nostalgic memories about this episode because in 1987 I was 16, so I quite enjoyed the Minuet episode.
Yeah, well, yeah, we all enjoyed that part of it, but I'm just saying, it's
So
also,
did
I swear, watching the credits, even the credits look bored and a bit listless. I might be imagining it at this stage, but I'm just saying, it was not the fine. Like, I mean, no one on screen was enjoying it.
It has got some, as I said, it's got some lovely shots of ships and
it has.
in this
Sorry, there is one more. I couldn't let this one pass as well, because when they realize Minuet is a hoax and they're in the archway and they realize the ship is in peril, what do? Run to action, make sure they get to the bridge as quickly as possible? No, let's talk to the hologram for 5 minutes because, it's a hologram. What? You're not kind of curious of what's happening on your bridge or anything?
And whenever you see them, they're not running anywhere. They're just sort of strolling down the corridor like, oh, no rush, number one.
Because we've got turbo lifts. They don't need to run.
Fair point.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up there then. So next week, we'll be back with the final very short trek, unless they bring out another one. And the next episode of Lower Decks and whatever other episode that sends us down the rabbit hole. So in the meantime, you can contact us. We're at RetrekPod. We are retrekpod@gmail.com. Elliot has got Retrek Model Studios on YouTube.
I have a video I'm ready to upload, so I'll probably upload that before I go away this weekend.
Fantastic. I've got Kingy's Model Studio on YouTube. Sorry, not Kingy's Model Studio. It's Elliot's Model Studio. Kingy's Toy Box on YouTube, where we've been reviewing Dungeons and Dragons lately, so we should have some more issues of that due soon. Dr. Squee, what have we got going on with the Dr. Squee show?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I've got a couple to load up onto YouTube, which will be appearing soon. One which was recorded a couple of weeks back for National Poetry Day. It needed some editing. It's ready to go up anyway. And there's another one which I just did with Dr. Philippa Kay, who is a wonderful doctor. Has written loads of books on female medical issues. She's a TV doctor as well, and she's talking all about it's National Menopause Month. And she talks about why you're doing your pelvic floors are important, and also because it might sound like it's not important to men, though it affects you should do them as well because it's better for our bloods as we get older. So it's maybe not the sexiest episode of the Dr. Screen Show, but it was actually really interesting, really fascinating, and I'd recommend it.
Actually do. Before we go, it's actually National Cleaners Day. I don't have a cleaner, and I'm not going to say thank you to the washing up fairies because they never turn up, the bastards. But can we say a thank you to all the cleaners that clean our workplaces?
We can. Yeah, thank you to all the cleaners.
Do you know it's also in this month? It's Menopause Month. It's ADHD Awareness Month, which I just found out, which is like halfway through. And it's also Black History Month in America. I mean, actually, no, it's over here, isn't it? I think in America, they've got it in February, which is the shortest month. I mean, we give them a proper month. That's what I'm saying. We give everyone a proper month. Anyway, so it's like a 3-for-1 month. It's like I think they're running out of months to do these things in.
Oh yeah, everything's something. Anyway, thanks for trekking with us this time. We will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And Dragofellalp.
Fascinating.
101000001. Am I right, fellas?